Disclaimer. You're about to listen/watch a podcast hosted by a group of friends who tend to use vulgar language and profanity, and also enjoy pounding adult beverages. Viewer discretion is advised. Lastly, we may be making some bold statements. All views and statements made in this podcast do not reflect the views of any sponsors, guests, followers, or any supporters of this podcast. So be cool and don't get offended. Thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoy.
RC racing is boring to watch.
So I wanted to start out asking a whole bunch of questions that are non-RC related. Blondes or brunettes?
Take the win! Aiden in the two spot! A last turn
Oh, that's Davey. Goodbye. Welcome to the Slowest Fast RC Podcast, episode 44. Make a wish, or whatever the kids say. Today joining us is the... Oh, I don't even know how to bring you in, Paul. Everyone knows you. You have such a rich history of racing, off-road, on-road, X-Ray, Serpent. Now you got the Mach 1 thing going on. So Paul Chiccarello joining us today. We get to deep dive into everything he's been doing now, things he plans in the future. I don't even know where to begin. I'm super stoked for this. Taylor? I know you got
Paul, is that a good enough introduction, or do we miss anything on that?
That's covers a lot of it.
Yeah. Teammate, too, obviously, to famous Dakota Fend as well. Add that to your resume. That's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
I feel like teammate doesn't quite describe it. Because
Pitmate?
Well, before, at least publicly, Dakota was on X-Ray, he was testing with your cars, correct, Paul?
Yeah, we did. Yep, we had a test day, and everything went really well.
And then,
So you could say you are solely responsible for X-Ray signing Dakota Fend, perhaps.
I don't know if I would say that,
I
but
did.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if he drove the cars and they were bad, he wouldn't have been too stoked on signings, or maybe not of signs. So it probably helped.
then there was a race or two where you build his kit right before that race, I believe, too.
Yeah, well, right in the beginning of 25, everything happened basically towards the end of December, and it was I already knew the cars, and he didn't have any experience, obviously, so it was easier for me to just put the base setup on and do the tricks and tips and whatever. So we got to the race, and it wasn't, maybe he didn't know how to do something right, or the setup wasn't the same as what we were currently running, and it just made everything go way smoother. And then we just kind of hit it off really good right at the beginning. So
We're skipping way ahead than when I wanted to start, but we got sidetracked. How long does it take you to build a kit for you, Paul? Say you get a fresh X-Ray kit, one not a new whatever, one that you already have a little bit of experience with, whatever currently is on the market. How long does it take you to build that kit?
I would say it almost takes 2 or 3 full days.
Okay.
I take a lot of time. I'm like a tinkerer also, so if I see a little this thing that needs this, or this thing that needs that, or that doesn't fit perfect. I mean, X-ray kits in general fit really well together, but I have my own way of doing things, shim this, whatever, kind of thing. So it takes a while, and then it's oh, I forgot to order a switch, so then you got to order a switch, and I need some titanium screws, so, it takes for sure 2 days, sometimes 3. Shim the diffs, all that kind of stuff.
Are these 8-hour, roughly 8-hour days?
I would say 8 hours days. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's a lot of time that we invest in this whole RC thing as a hobby.
I definitely spend more time at my bench at home than I do at the track or practicing, which
Which is a
I
surprise to
need to
me.
spend more time practicing, but
Yeah.
I know at the track
On the
it
other
always
side.
seems like you're practicing, which is great.
yeah. Yep.
On the other
You
side of it,
definitely
Paul,
have
though,
like the reputation of being the one that practices the most and gets
Yeah.
some of the most track time, and
Yeah.
honestly one of the hardest workers too at the track. Paul,
Yeah.
how many times are we at the track in the pits? I might be doing something, working on, I don't know, Cody's truck or whatever in the middle of the night, and then you're there still wrenching till the very last person.
Yep.
All
I'm
the time.
almost always the last person to leave, either that night or after the race is over. And sometimes the race is over and I'm running laps after the race is over, and I'm the last one there packing up my stuff. A lot of times, especially at LCRC, because a lot of times we can run there afterwards. So like, oh, I picked the wrong tires. I should have ran those tires. Oh, my shock oil. Oh, I would have been so much faster. And next time you go, it's the same thing again. You make all the same mistakes.
Let's go back, and I don't want to cut you off, Alex.
No,
Mike,
it's
did
good.
you have something, or were you good?
I was just gonna make the comment of Chickie. You spent a lot of time on your cars, but you're also not known at all for not for DNFing. Like you always finish your races. You know what I mean? Unless it was an unforeseen circumstance, but so
Yeah, I mean,
it,
unless I crash and break my car or something like that, it's very rare that I don't finish a race.
yeah.
So I
Maintenance
wanted
is
to
key.
go back like a lot.
Back.
How'd
Okay.
you first get started into RC, Paul? Before we got off on this tangent with Fend, X-ray, everything
Yep.
else. So
The cold winter's
So I
evening.
actually, what's that?
It was cold winter's evening back in 19 whatever.
Pretty much. Back in the 1900s now. So I actually, you were talking in the beginning about Serpent and X-Ray and then Mach 1, but it actually all started at a company called Parma International, which was a slot car and RC company.
Right.
And I'm originally from New York, in the Poughkeepsie area, the East Coast side of New York, and I used to race motocross, and not that I was good, but locally raced motocross. And one day, me and my buddy were riding our bikes at the track, practice track or whatever, and he's like, we're getting done. He's like, "Hey, I'm going over to the slot car track that just opened up, in town tonight. You want to go check it out?" And I was like, "Whatever, okay, I don't know." I figured it was like little HO, like Matchbox size cars. And I'm like, "Yeah, all right, I'll go check it out." And so I go down there, and it was the big, huge tracks that, as big as someone's basement, let's say. And it was 8 lanes. I think they're probably 3 feet wide or somewhere in that area. Wooden tracks that someone actually routers and paints and, whatever. So it's not like a plastic Tyco track, let's say. And I saw it, and the cars are 1/24 scale. I saw it and I was like, wow, this is awesome. And my buddy's like, "Here, try it out." And of course, I didn't know what I was doing. Full speed into the wall. Had no idea you had to let off for the turns, right? Destroyed his car. I'm like, so I felt bad. But from that day, for the next 3 months, I'm pretty sure I was there every single day. So that like sparked my hobby interest or passion, I guess, a little bit away from motocross to slot cars. And at the slot car track that I raced at, that whole area, there was a lot of national champions and regional champions and guys that were really good. So I got to start doing it basically the right way instead of doing it the wrong way and trying to figure it out. So, like one guy would do something really well with his car, how he built it, maybe made the body or mounted the body on the car. And another guy built his motor a certain way, and he helped me, and the other guy helped me with the body, and some guy, would help me with truing the tires. So I learned like all the right things to do first instead of taking years to figure it out myself. So that was a huge, huge the learning curve was like almost none because I learned how to do it all pretty quick the right way. So I got really good at that pretty quick, and I like doing it. So then that was what year was that? I think it was 1992 maybe. And I started traveling around the region, the Northeast, going to some races and doing really well, and then eventually going to the nationals and did pretty good. And then the next year I won a class, and so within like 2 years I was already winning national championship. And then Steve Kep, who was the R&D guy at Parma International, he's like, "Hey, why don't you come work for us?" And I'm like, "Wow, that would be cool, right?" So then I wound up doing that. That was January 1996. I moved to Ohio and started working for the slot car company Parma, and they also made RC car stuff. At the time, it was brushed motors. They would wind their own motors, match their own sub C cell batteries, make bodies for RC, and then with the slot cars, they made everything there also. So I got to race for them, and I was working in the research and development department, and just I don't know how long did I work there for? Until 2009. I was there for like 14 years, I think. So I got to travel all around the world. I went to like Brazil, Belgium, Canada, whatever. It was pretty cool. So I won a lot of races doing slot cars, and eventually so when I moved to Ohio, I didn't have dirt bike or anything. I kind of got out of it because I was doing so much slot car stuff. And then by working at Parma, I started making real money instead of working at the slot car track when I was doing it in New York. And I was like, okay, I want to buy a dirt bike again. So I bought a 125, a 250, race plus 25, had a truck because I finally had money where living at home, working at the slot car track, I didn't have any real money. Um, and then, like in a period of 12 months, I broke my wrist, separated my shoulder, stress fractured my leg, sprained both of my ankles at the same time to the point where I was in a wheelchair for a week. My buddy had to like pick me up from my apartment and carry me on his back up the stairs to go to work. And I wheeled myself around work in a wheelchair. And finally, then when I broke my wrist, my boss, Steve, he's like, "Hey, why don't you stop racing motocross and we'll get you a 12 scale car. So at least you're not getting hurt and missing work all the time." And I was like, "Yeah, I think I'm ready for that." And it wasn't because I didn't love motocross. It was just I was tired of getting hurt and not being able to work or do other things that I like to do. Um, so then I got into racing 12 scale, and that was like 2001 or 2002 area. But I did race a little bit of outdoor off-road in like 94, 95 when I was in New York, and then like a year or two when I moved to Ohio also. So I had a little bit of RC experience before I got into racing 12 scale. And then kind of the transition from slot cars to 12 scale was, I'm not going to say it was easy, but I already had the throttle part figured out. I just had to figure out how to steer it and guide it around the track. So and plus all the mechanical things with slot cars and making sure your car doesn't fall apart or things come loose, and that all carried over into RC. So right away, my cars handled good, and I learned again from some really good guys that were in the Cleveland area. It was like a big 12 scale area. They had the indoor champs there. And so for slot cars and RC, I learned right away always the best way to do it rather than stumbling around and breaking and stuff falling apart. And so that accelerated, the learning curve quite a bit.
So after 12 scale, what came in RC from then?
So and so that was 2001 or two. So in 2004, I started racing a little bit of nitro on road. I raced that for Serpent while working for Parma, and we were also developing at Parma nitro touring car and 8 scale on road bodies. So it was kind of like Paul, go to the races and try and figure out how to design this body so it works, and we'll pay for your travel to go to the race so we can sell more bodies and make the best body, and that kind of stuff. So that was part of like the R&D thing. And I was also racing slot cars a little bit then too, but just not as much.
Did the passion for slot cars go away and just kind of build towards the on-road at that point?
Yeah, I mean, even now, me and my son every once in a while will go to a slot car track, and I love doing it, but it's just not as much involved as the RC. So there's just more going on with the RC, and especially off road. One of the reasons why I kind of transitioned into off road from on road was the on road. It was always the same guys, which I love the guys, but it was the same 12 guys on the same track, same layout, whatever. And with off road, it was like, oh wow, I can race every weekend at a different track within 3 hours of my house in a different condition against different people. And it was always new. And it was also like a different, slot cars I was doing for so long, it was just repetitive. And with the RC, especially the off road, it was like every time you went to the track, you learned something, and it was like you were starting over again. Just because, I mean, it's even like that now, really. Like I said, you race and then you pick the wrong tire, you stay after the race, and I should have ran that tire, and then you try and not make that mistake again, right? So yeah, I mean,
when you were racing 12 scale on road,
yep,
you're still working for Parma, and then
yep,
you started running the Serpent car.
yep.
Tell us about kind of the transition from the on road to the off road stuff, and what cars were you running? Were you still working for Parma at that time?
Okay, so um, 2010, I was running actually. So we made also 12 scale bodies at Parma, and racing nitro on road and racing 12 scale. Eventually, I, for whatever reason, started running a Serpent 12 scale, and the Serpent America distributor here was like, "Hey, we might have a job for you, or we want you to race for us only, and we'll make you like a salesman so you can make commission off of your sales, and still get to go to the races and everything, and race 12 scale on road, whatever, nitro." So I started doing that. Left Parma and then started working for Serpent in 2010. And then I sort of found out there's not many people racing nitro on road. You can't make a lot of money because you can't sell. There's the amount of people there to sell to is pretty small. And 12 scale was a little bit bigger, but the 12 scale wasn't, let's say, as popular, their car anyway, even though it worked well. So then I was like, Serpent at that time, I don't know if it was 2010 or 2011, they came out with a buggy. So I was like, oh, I like, used to race motocross. I like, engines and whatever. So I was like, I would go to an off-road race, just to a local one, and I mean, man, there's all these people here. Well, I could probably make a lot more money racing off-road and making commission on that than racing nitro on road, So I got into doing that, and then I started actually making money, and we sold Novarossi engines at the time, the Serpent, buggies. So there was a lot of there was a lot more people to sell to. So
Would you say that there's some skills that transferred over from on road to off road that definitely helped, and were they necessary? Would you recommend somebody that runs off road now that they should run on road as well?
if you can, I think the more different classes you run, not at one particular race, but just generally, I think it'll make you a better all around driver. I'm not sure on road made me a um, better driver for off road, but off road or on road, especially 12 scale, you had to be so meticulous with everything that if your car was tweaked or something was not balanced, you couldn't get it around the track, like at all. So you had to make sure everything was perfect. And for me, that carried over into off road with the setups and also keeping your car together and finishing races and all that stuff. So the mechanics of it definitely helped a lot. And with on road, I guess, driving, knowing where the line is, even though in off road, sometimes the line that you want to drive is not the line because the track's all blown out or whatever. Um, it definitely, that part definitely helped. But just racing different cars, I think, just makes you more versatile and adaptable, let's say. So you can adapt to a different condition faster than if you're just always doing the same thing. And it probably took me a year or two when I started racing off road to whip the car in the air and figure all that out because that wasn't something I was doing in on road. But watching the
Not on
guys,
purpose, at least.
yeah, right, and watching the guys and eventually figuring that out, that helped a lot also. So, but it did take me a little while to figure that out.
How long were you with Serpent then?
Let me think about this. So Serpent was 2010 to 2018.
Okay. And you're kind of attributed to being one of the leaders of Serpent to
Yep. I was a team
develop that
manager and
brand.
salesman. Yeah.
And that was kind of back then before social media and all that. So how was it that you grew that brand to be so big during that time frame?
I went to all the races. I helped a lot of people. I feel like I got a lot of the people that I knew could help grow the brand. Nice guys. Mike was one of them at the time. He still is nice, but you know what I mean. Back then,
No, he's not.
Questionable. Only back then.
Only back then.
Yeah, but he ran Serpent back then. There was a bunch of guys over in the PA area that ran it. And we had a really good group of guys. And when you went to the race and somebody saw us helping each other and, talking about things or giving advice or whatever, people just kind of caught on to that and were like, well, yeah, I want to be a part of that too. Or, so.
Awesome. So any other questions on Serpent before I move on from Serpent from you guys?
Can I take a step back?
Yes.
So, I want to go back to Parma. Like when you were working at Parma, what did you have like a specific job when you were there? What was your gig?
It was research and development. It was developing new products.
Just across the board? Because all I know Parma for is like bodies and painting paraphernalia, but it seems they were big into slot cars and stuff. So
Right, I wasn't when I worked there. That's when they came out with the fast color paint. I wasn't super involved in that at the time. I was doing other stuff,
okay,
but the 12 scale body that we came out with kind of changed 12 scale racing. It was called the Speed 8 body, and it was like a higher downforce body. The cars handle better. Like I had a lot to do with that because coming from slot cars, the bodies are pretty wedged and everything, and
right.
I kind of carried that over to 12 scale, and that took off pretty big.
Is there anything you feel like you learned at Parma that you carry even into like today racing at say LCRC or wherever you go to race
Oh,
scale off road?
yeah, for sure. Because I did a lot of CAD work. I learned how to work on a milling machine, on a lathe. Um, I learned at the time how to wind motors. Not that we do that anymore. Um, but yeah, it was definitely a good learning experience for sure.
Cool. That's super awesome. I never knew that. So
Yeah.
all right, I'm good.
Mike?
Like, let's say I don't want to like let Chickie sell himself a little short. Like his time, like your time with Serpent, is, I mean, it was definitely something else. I mean, like it not only did you grow that brand, especially like in our area and in the U.S., but like you basically, I don't know other way to say it, but you like Bornhorst, for example, you started his pro career. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if I could say if it wasn't for you, he wouldn't be where he was, at the time. But I mean, you definitely
say
had a big part in Joe starting off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, you did a lot. You helped a ton of people. Like, I mean, you made a professional driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chickie, we're just telling you that you're doing all the
So,
things.
Yeah.
yeah,
Started
Joe would actually
Fenn's
admit it.
career now with
Yeah.
X-Ray, Born Horse, everyone else.
Yeah,
All the
Joe
careers.
would agree. I mean, he had all the talent in the world for sure. And it was funny the first couple times I raced against him, he had a Losi, and I don't know, he would have probably only been racing for a couple months or even driving an RC car for a couple months. And we went to our local track and we're racing nitro buggy, and he was fast as hell already. But he just kept crashing. And I said to him, I said, if you can figure out how to stop crashing, you're going to be really good. And he did that pretty quickly too. So, and then we just started talking and became friends, and I helped him a lot. And, it was, it was good. And we're still friends today.
How old was Joe back then?
18, maybe.
yeah,
Something
old
like
enough
that.
to drive on his own after
Yeah.
11.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Was
he,
he done
go
with
ahead, sorry.
motocross at that point?
So he got into RC because he destroyed his leg and his ankle, and basically started doing RC on crutches. And that's kind of how he got into it. And the funny thing too is, with me getting into 12 scale, I started driving 12 scale with a cast that went all the way up to the halfway of my arm, and I was driving the car with my fingers like this. So that's how I started racing 12 scale.
Yeah. I'd hate to be the one carrying Joe up the driver's stand. Even probably at 18, I'm sure he was a little bit taller than average.
He's always been big, yeah. He had crutches though. He could manage.
So let's talk about towards the end of Serpent then. The
Mhm.
transition from Serpent to, was it immediately X-Ray for you, Paul, or
Yeah,
was there
I
a
mean,
lull in time?
no, I worked for Serpent, and I just kind of got tired of it and just needed to do something different. And I was kind of getting burnt out on being the team manager, and it was always like I was always on the computer answering questions, worrying about who was racing, and I was kind of taking a little too much time away from my family, and I was too into it, I guess, too overwhelmed with it, or however you want to say it. But yeah, I needed to do something different. And I was like, probably the only two companies at the time that I would have raced for would have been Associated and X-Ray. And I'm like, Associated doesn't have on-road cars, but they have all the off-road cars. X-Ray has on-road cars and off-road cars. And I always saw both companies um, always developing new cars and coming out with new things. And X-Ray was a good fit because I was racing on-road and off-road. So, yeah, and the product I knew was really good, and the team was good. And yeah, so that was like my first choice, I would say.
Did you go straight into a sponsorship with X-Ray, or did you start running the cars and then
I
ask them
did.
for
Yep. Yep. I did.
Yeah. So what would you say separates X-Ray as themselves as a brand from some other brands?
Definitely the quality is really good. It's all made in Slovakia in Europe. The materials, Uri is actually like I don't know how you say it, but some kind of metal material expert. So he knows what material to use for what, or knows how to figure it out. And their plastics are really good. The development side has always been good. Just they're, I would say, professional. You know, they do a good job with the promotion of the new cars. It's always like, oh, I can't wait till Friday morning when they drop the new e-buggy. I want to check it out online, or that kind of stuff. So, yeah, all around the company is just really solid, I think.
So you were pretty successful with Serpent And then when you first started with X-Ray, did your success of winning races and doing well at races immediately take off? Or was it a little bit of a learning curve for the new car?
It
Or
was,
did you?
I would say, except for maybe the first race when I was just trying to figure out the car, I would say I did a little bit better right away. Is what I would say. Like
And
I
back
went
then, what
to,
races were you going to?
so my first race would have been the Fall Brawl in December, beginning of December of 2018. And then my next race would have been, I raced a little bit of 10 scale in there, but on the 8 scale side, then I went to Motorama and I did pretty well there. And then I don't know if it was the next week or 2 weeks after I went to DNC. And that DNC was my best result ever in Pro Buggy. It was 2019. One of my rounds in Nitro Buggy, I qualified 12th, and I wound up making the B main, and I've never been able to duplicate that again. I don't know if it's because of age or whatever, but yeah, like so right away the car was good, and I had Ty and Gord helping me, and they were obviously knew what they were doing. Um, so yeah, right away I was doing really good.
That was actually my next question I had lined up for you, Paul, was who was helping you on the X-Ray team back then? And then
Yeah,
would it be Ty and Gord mostly at that time?
yeah. Gord was a team manager, and then obviously Ty was the racer, but yeah, they were helping pretty much everyone at the time. So at that time I was just Paul the racer, and also I still helped guys in our area, but it wasn't to the extent of when I was at Serpent helping people around the whole country, let's say.
Did you have ambitions of getting back there once you first started X-Ray to being back to like a team manager type status, or just you really were trying to focus on just racing?
I don't think in the RC industry they could pay me enough to be a team manager again. It would take a lot of money, and I don't think any company would pay for it.
Got it. Uh, so what else you guys got? I've been talking for a while.
Like when you talk.
Thank you.
I want to make a statement. I guess it's more of a statement than a question, because
Yes.
in the Pittsburgh area, like back, so when I started racing, Serpent was alive and well. This would have been 2014, 2015, and so like around me and Mike, I'm sure it was like there was Serpent, and then like everything else, especially like on the 10 scale side and stuff, and like there was Lonzo, there was Tony, Williard, I think was Serpent at the time.
I don't think he ever ran Serpent,
No,
actually.
okay,
Maybe he had a e-buggy one time, but he
okay,
never.
okay. But the
I
point
wouldn't really
is,
want him on Serpent anymore. The same team as me.
the point is,
We're all for talking crap on Williard here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
very
Oh
standard.
yeah.
But the main like Pittsburgh cats at that time were all Serpent, and
Right,
then
yep.
right there in 2018, 2019, when you left Serpent, Paul, and you went to X-Ray, it seemed like every single one of those cats went to X-Ray, to the point I even ran Tony's e-truck at Motorama in 21 or 22. I think it was 22 when I had a ride. But
Yeah.
point being, I think it's a testament to not necessarily the brand, but more to yourself as a character, of how everyone wanted to come still like be with you in a sense. You know, you created
Yeah, I
such a good
appreciate that.
environment with Serpent, so they wanted to follow that environment.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was definitely a good group of guys, and kids really too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to take a lot of the kids to the races, because their parents were busy or whatever, and help them with setups and make sure their cars didn't fall apart. And it was kind of like maybe a little bit of a mentoring program, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, and it definitely birthed a lot of really fast drivers too. I mean, Gibb, Fucina, just to name a couple. Ethan, mechanic, like Yeah, I'll never be as fast as them, but I can sure T-bone them at a turn or two, you know. Yeah, I just wanted to throw some flowers that way.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, sir. Mike, what do you got?
I got.
Oh,
Okay, go ahead. Nope, I'm here to cut Mike off. I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Mike.
No, you're good, Taylor. Go ahead.
I was gonna have like
Yeah,
one
fine.
topic and then possibly break for a commercial.
okay.
Okay.
So I wanted to talk about X-Ray's large T and then a couple different departments and stuff for them.
Okay.
They have on-road, and I'm kind of ignorant myself to on-road. I don't know much about it, and I don't really follow it too closely, other than what RCTV kind of broadcasts.
Right.
And then they have a pretty large 10 scale off-road program that they're known for,
Yep.
along with a pretty large 8 scale off-road program. Do you think that having such a diverse amount of classes that they put a lot of effort into hurts X-Ray or would help X-Ray? Because it seems like a lot of both money and time and management kind of spread out. You want to talk
Well,
about
I
that?
think part of the good thing about them is it's like separate people doing one and one doing the other. So the guys
This
that
is
are
news to me.
doing,
That's why I ask it.
yeah, no, like Martin Hootie is in charge of the on-road division. So, I mean, he has a lot of projects with, 12 scale, touring car, four-wheel drive, F1, whatever. So he's definitely got a lot of work, but he does nothing with off-road. He's just concentrating on on-road. And then you have Martin Bayer, who does all of the 10 scale stuff, the testing and ideas and everything. And Uri and Martin also do the 8 scale off road. And then Uri does a lot of the nitro on road stuff. So they working hard all the time for sure, but it's a little spread out. So not just one person's doing everything. So, yeah, I think and they also have guys like that help that work at the factory that go to the races that help in on road, like Adam Ize, I think is how you say his last name. He works at X-Ray and also goes to the on road races with Martin and helps people. And then like Max Gotzel will go to the off road races with Martin and help the guys there too. So they have a group of guys that kind of help each other and are concentrating on, one thing or one category, let's say, or whatever.
Would you say X-Ray as a company is better in one particular category than in the another, or puts more focus on one, or no? Because it's so spread out.
I mean, I think generally all the cars are really good. I don't think we have any bad cars. And maybe we don't have all the best cars, but there's no bad cars, I don't think. In the on road or off road.
You guys are always on the podium. It seems like both for 8 scale and 10 scale
Yeah,
off-road.
yep,
So
yep.
understandably. You guys want to break for a commercial? I gotta pee.
Yeah,
Sure.
we'll let you go pee. Let's hear
Okay.
from our friends down
Cool.
at Nitro Caddy first, Dennis Brew, and whoever else he has working for him. Dude, the Nitro Caddies, the Bump Masters, the Stop Sticks. Always working on something. He's got the new Nitro Caddy now, the new super light version. I don't know what he actually calls it, but check him out online on Facebook. Here's their video.
It's a starter box adapter plate. I got tired of the pins moving on me with the boxes. And what this plate does is it affixes the four corners of your chassis to the starter box.
we're back. All right, so we talked about how you got into it, Paul, starting with the slot cars, Parma, 12 scale, so on and so forth, Serpent, and then you moved into X-Ray. Moving forward, so you've been with X-Ray for 8 years now, going on 8 years. What do you see in the future? Do you anticipate to stay with X-Ray for a while longer, or is it unsure, or do you have sights on something else, or is this all secret?
I mean, as of right now, I don't have any plans of leaving.
Good deal. Is there any secret squirrely stuff in the X-Ray pipe coming along?
Like products?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know anything like definitive, but with the 8 scale worlds coming up, we're doing a lot of testing and prototype parts and stuff, trying to see if we can find something to make the car better and hopefully get their first 8 scale off-road world championship. So,
What sort of things are you trying to develop? Like just for things for like a high grip, whether it be
just generally making the car better, like just different geometry and that kind of stuff.
do you know the direction that they're trying to make changes for? Anything, whether it's
Shocks.
Just better, faster, easier. You know, basically, you want it to drive itself. I was actually speaking of that, a long time ago. I was at a race and Ryan Lutz was there, and I was racing Serpent at the time, and I was at that particular race, I was having a hard time with my car, and I kept changing stuff, and he's like, "Paul, sometimes you just got to drive it," and I was like, "Ryan, I'm going to make this thing drive itself," and I don't think I ever did at that race, but that's the goal. Is like you want it to just be fast and easy.
Agreed.
is there and I don't mean to cut you off on your topics here, Alex, but
You're good.
is there a point in between easy to drive and fast? I always kind of separate the two of them as far as setup and stuff goes, where you no longer want it to be so easy to drive, but you need it to be fast.
So you can have an easy car two different ways, let's say. So easy can mean it pushes, and if it pushes, you're going to be slow because you ain't, you got to be able to turn the turns tight and have good corner speed and everything. And then also easy is so you have enough steering, but your brain's not melting while you're trying to drive it. Like I want my cars to use most of the steering wheel, but not be difficult. If I'm just using 1% of the wheel, that's too hard for me anyway. So the car needs to have, I always like my car to have enough steering, but not too much steering. And to me, like, if the car is stable and like a lot of times, you hit a bump and a car want to fly off the track or whatever, that's not easy to me. I want the car to soak up the bump, the car to still keep going straight. I don't want to go through the sweeper and hit a bump and fly off the track. I want the thing to be planted. So, but still have steering. So that's not always easy to find either. So, but as far as like, I don't like a car that's super nervous or will spin out when you turn the wheel or when you hit the gas, it gets loose. Like I don't put up with that. So.
Can I take the lead off that, Alex, or if you had some more?
Yeah, go ahead. Gotta let you beat me once in a while.
It was only a Marshall is the reason why you beat me the last time.
Scoreboard.
Yeah. All right. I think I beat you before that though. But anyways, who's keeping track?
Me.
So Paul, I see you at the track. You're always adjusting stuff, always testing stuff, and then you're always bouncing ideas off your other teammates and stuff.
Yeah.
When you're at the track and you're generally adjusting things, do you stick to your known hardcore things that you like to adjust? If so, what are they? And what I'm thinking in my mind is like, say, sway bar adjustments. Obviously, your diffs and your shock fluids, like they're a go-to for everyone. But I'm thinking just sway bars, like camber links, and like roll centers. Are they like? What's your go-to things that you're always kind of adjusting? And then what are you finding with some of those things?
I mean, probably like the shock oil and the tires and the diff oil and the sway bars.
Yeah.
I mean,
And are you changing pistons along with that all the time?
sometimes, like in our area, I think you can pretty much run the same pistons at all the tracks for the most part. The conditions are relatively similar. I think if you were to like when you go to Thornhill or you're going to race on an oil track or maybe DNC that's super blown out, I think then you're going to probably veer off a little bit one way or the other. But
What is? I don't mean to cut you off too, but before we get off subject, I've never been.
You just love cutting people off.
All the time. It's the only thing I can be good at. That's the only way I can
Loves it.
beat you guys if I cut you off
Loves
and hack
it.
you in the turn. So, what is it about Thornhill, and what direction do you go with shock pistons that makes it different from what you run currently here at, say, like an LCRC that we're all familiar with?
so at Thornhill, you'll typically want to run 8 or 6 hole piston with smaller holes in it, so you have more pack. The grip is pretty high there. The diffs usually go up more than what you would go at like LCRC or something, even when LCRC has high bite or whatever. But yeah, it's just that track is tight and it's high grip, and the line is really narrow because it gets dusty outside the line. So you have to be like, it's not an easy track to get around. When you're in the line, it's okay, but it's very and your error margin is super small.
Seems deceiving from the mod media coverage there, because it looks like it's 8 feet wide on the camera there, but yeah, obviously not. Anyways, go back to where you were before I rudely interrupted you there. Other things that you like to adjust, we talked about the shock pistons and the shock oil. You talked about the diffs, say sway bars. Were there some other things? And then what are some of the things that you're trying to give or take? And then is there always a balance that you're looking for with the sway bars?
Yeah, definitely. There's always a balance. I mean, if the sway bars are too stiff in the front, it will push. If it's too stiff in the back, it can also sometimes push or make it loose. Also, when you're going over an uneven section, the wheels won't work as independently, let's say. So you can definitely go too stiff. You'll have, most of the time, the car just gets harder and harder to drive. But you can also go too soft, and it's rolling all over the place. It's hard to drive. So, definitely a balance with that. I don't mess with the cams too much. Maybe an ice squad and a rear toe. And a rear toe and the springs. Probably the springs I mess with a lot, actually.
I would say a lot of times for us with the Mugen, we hardly change spring rates quite a bit.
Right.
Generally, we always stick to one, and if you make a change, it's just like for one down, kind of.
Yeah.
Be the front of
Right.
why is it you find those changes in spring so often?
So you can always, there's always a million ways to skin a cat, I guess. I want to use softer springs, but then I want to roll centers higher. I want stiffer springs, I want to roll center lower, and which way is the best? And like a lot of times, I mean, I'm always changing stuff, and at the end, I'm like, you know what I just showed up with was better, and I learned a lot, and I had fun changing it and driving my car, but like what I showed up with was actually the best thing, and that happens a lot. Sometimes you can try and make it better, and you just can't make it better. Sometimes you just got to drive better, or pick the right tire, or whatever.
How similar are some of the setups that you guys run on the X-Ray team with everyone else? Are they pretty close, plus or minus just a couple little adjustments? Or you got a couple drivers that are pretty far out there? And when I say team, I'm talking about kind of you, Ethan, Fend, and Chase Lemieux, and I might have missed just a couple of them.
I would say we're all fairly similar. I mean, in Europe, it's going to be different because they're running on a totally different surface. But generally, I would say, I mean, even like Dakota, when we went and he drove my cars for the first time, I mean, that was a car that I would race. And he was better with that day than he was with his Losi car. So if I can drive it and he can go fast with it, then you have a pretty damn good car. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, like if he's obviously he can drive a car way harder to drive than I can, but if he can drive a car that's easy to drive and I can still drive it, then a lot more people can drive it. You know, I don't. He represents the 0.5% of the RC world. I represent more of the seven. You know, I'm not terrible by any means, but I don't represent the elite guy. I'm more of the better normal guy, let's say. You know, so
Hardcore
we can.
hobbyist.
Up yourself just a little bit, though, Paul.
Well,
You're always making A's.
Give
and
yourself
stuff
a little
for the most
credit,
part.
Paul.
Yeah.
But you know, compared to the really good guys, I'm pretty good, but not that good. So, but like I said, if I can drive it most of the time, I can give my car to anyone, any normal person, and they can get it around a track pretty well.
You kind of alluded to it. I was just going to say, talk about your experiences real quick. I don't want to make this about Fend at all. This is your podcast. I just want to allude to some of your experiences pitting for and setting cars up for Dakota stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely always wants a little more steering than I do. So if we start with like a base setup of what I would run, and then he can go, okay, well, I need more steering or whatever. Usually the grip is good for him and the balance. Like the most important thing is having the car balanced. When it's balanced, you can go a little bit this way or a little bit that way, and you're not going to break it, you know, or make it drive broken, let's say. So, but most of the time, I would say he just wants a little more steering than I do.
Perfect. What other questions you guys got for X-Ray and Paul before we move on from that?
I don't think I have anything X-ray specific.
Go ahead then.
I don't either for X-ray specific.
How about other questions?
Mike, you want to lead the train?
Yeah, so I mean, you alluded to Thornhill and the world and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you have your experience at Thornhill? Actually, I mean, what is the experience at Thornhill? Because for the people that don't know, because I've never been there either, and with Worlds being there this year, like from the video, it looks like the lane is 8 feet wide and the traction is 8 feet wide. You just told us it's not. It's like a foot wide.
It's at times been 8 feet wide traction, but a lot of times I would say no.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. It just seems like a really interesting surface. I know we've never run anything up here like that.
Yeah.
Do you have any predictions going into the Worlds this year of who would win? Or, I mean, obviously you're gonna be rooting for Dakota, but
yeah.
Do you have any predictions of what's gonna happen with all the Europeans coming over here?
I mean, that's kind of that surface is their thing. So I think our drivers in the US are as good as anyone, but being that that's the really one of the only tracks in the US that is like that, it's more difficult for us. They have a lot more tracks like that in Europe. So when they showed up for the warm up, they were pretty dialed right away. Like they threw their cars down and I was like, wow, okay. We got some work to do. But yeah, I mean, as far as who's going to win and all that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of good drivers that can win and a lot of good drivers that may have issues. And it's, it'll be hard. It'll be, and then also, every race, like, so the Nationals they had there last year, like E-Buggy, they ran first and E-Truggy, and the track started out really good. But as the week went on, it got drier and drier, and the line got narrower and narrower, and there wasn't not really a lot of grip. And now then the Worlds, I think, is like 8 or 10 days. We don't even know if by the 5th day it's going to be anything like what anybody's driven on there before. It may be a totally different surface. So, I mean, the person or the team or whatever who adapts the best is probably going to win. because all the drivers and all the cars I think are capable.
You were at Nats last year, right? At Thornhill?
Yeah.
Can you? Good. I've heard some stories of Nats as far as the kind of the nightmare that it was, as far as constantly having to rebuild diffs and things like that. Can you go into a little bit of like how that week progressed for you, like what you had to do, and just generally curious.
So, like I would say for our, not necessarily me, but for our team, like Dakota didn't really change his car much at all. I know a lot of guys were changing diffs and doing that, but him and a couple of our other guys didn't really change that much stuff. I think they adapted their driving better. Like for myself, the track started out like high grip, and then as the lane got narrower and narrower, I probably for myself should have went maybe with a little more pin, not necessarily a pin tire, but not a tire that was so worn down, like a bar tire that was so worn. So when I got out of the line, I wasn't spinning out or crashing or whatever. And probably went down on my diffs I should have done. But, like the couple times we were there before that, I didn't have to do that. So I didn't adapt very well to it. As good as I think I do at adapting, that time I didn't.
Fair enough. Say, Alex, you got something?
Yeah. Two-parter. First question is, if you had to pick a race event that happens yearly, that is like your favorite, I will never miss this event, if the creek don't rise type deal, what is that event for you, Paul?
I would say probably DNC. I like seeing all the Europeans come over and just watch the good drivers drive. The track's not always great as far as being, it's definitely never smooth. The layout's always really good and the jumps are really cool and that is good, but it gets really rough, so that makes it super difficult. But for me, that race has always been one of the best ones. Jimmy announces and he's really good, but Kenny Brosh, who's been a long time announcer of DNC, he like is a super duper good announcer. Like he like when you're driving around a track, he's actually telling a story about, and he's going over the hill and down the gully and then he's going through the whoops. Like he just like narrates rather than race directs, kind of, I guess. I don't know. But the way he tells the story of the race going on is just a little bit different than other people, I guess. And for me, that is pretty cool.
Yeah, color commentating.
So you're saying race directors help make an entire event?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Well,
just look at Alex at LCRC. I mean,
Aren't you, Alex?
That's a whole nother conversation, because there's race directing and there's commentating, and you can't
right.
do both at the same time.
The first thing that comes to mind right now is JV saying his IKEA and throwing the kitchen sinks at it and everything else. Well, that's almost a story for another time.
IKEAs and hardware stores beware. Okay, so DNC is your favorite event. Never miss it. Now, looking back through 12 scale, on-road, off-road, all your RC career, what is your favorite event or race you've ever been at, that whether you had the most fun, your best finish, or whatever it may be, that made it like, this is my favorite time I've had racing?
I don't think I ever have a bad time at a race, honestly. Like, I just love driving RC cars. Like, if you were going to tell us, hey, we're going to go race Mini Z's or something or whatever, I would be like, I mean, now I don't have the time for it, but I would be up for racing like anything, anywhere, whatever. I mean, I don't know. I mean, actually, besides DNC, the Florida Carpet Champs is actually another good race if you're into racing carpet.
Yeah,
10 scale.
No,
their layouts there are like
looks killer.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. The track is big. you're going fast. The jumps are awesome. Like that. That's another race I would say that's really good.
Yeah,
But all the races, I have a good time at every race, even when I don't do good.
I've said it multiple times publicly. I hate carpet. I despise it. But announcing carpet or watching carpet is so much fun because it's so fast. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I want to hear about your maintenance program and all that. So, what's maintenance look like for you in between races? By the chuckles, I have a feeling that I kind of get an idea of what it is. And then, what sort of things are you maintaining and how often too at races?
So before I took over the family business, more so in the last year, I would say, I mean, now I have a lot less time than I used to. Um, but before that, I pretty much worked on my car almost all day, every day. The job I had was working at night, going to different meetings and whatever. It was like a side job. So, and I would then go with my dad to our family business, but I only did that a couple days a week. So when I wasn't doing that, I was at my workshop, at my bench, working on my cars all the time. And so basically, let's just say a race at LCRC. It's 4 days, or 3 days, however you want to say it. I always show up on Thursday to practice. I'll I'll start at my car's already prepared, and then we'll go into then after the race. Then what do I do to get ready for the next one? Let's say. So when I show up, my car's prepared to go, clean, rebuilt, everything. And aside from making the setup changes or the shock oil changes or the diff changes, I don't, for me, when I assemble the car, it's assembled and nothing comes loose. I don't have to worry about tightening anything. I don't have to check anything. It's ready to go and it will stay together. It's extremely rare I have a screw come loose or whatever. I mean, sometimes people will tighten a screw like on their car and it'll fall off, and I'll go like, "Well, did you tighten it?" Or like a lot of times I don't even use Loctite. I'm not even joking, but I crank down on every screw. Like I've broken so many wrenches, X wrenches. But yeah, I mean, still like I feel like if even sometimes you use Loctite, it can come loose for whatever reason. So a lot of times I don't even use it. But like I said, I show up at the race with my car together for the weekend. I'm not taking it apart to fix something unless I break an arm or whatever. And then basically a lot of the times, aside from changing the diff oil and the um, shock oil, sometimes if it's super dusty at a race, I'll take the hinge pins out. Usually it's only the rear, and I'll just put them in a drill with Scotch Brite, or take like, they kind of just get a lot of gunk in there in the rear, to make sure it's not bound up. And then also the rear diff, I'll take it apart and re-grease the out drives where it goes into the diff. That I feel like is more important than actually the oil being black or clear. Is if that oil, that grease on the out drive. Here.
What do you use for grease too, by the way, Paul?
I use Maxima waterproof grease. It's a motorcycle grease.
Okay.
But basically, the grease on here, around here, is probably one of the most important things on your car to make sure that it is greased all the time. I feel like that's more important than if the oil's black. If this is dry and rusty, your car is not going to work. But your car will still work pretty good with a black diff, let's say. So I always make sure that this is always greased up. I may do it most of the time only one time a race, but sometimes twice, depending on, like how dusty it is or whatever. And that I don't really do. I change the air filter, obviously, or whatever. But as far as working on the car for the maintenance, that's all done before the race. So, or after that race, let's say.
You're not one to tear down like before main day. You're doing diffs and shock oils and everything. You're
The only
just
thing I'll
looking
do
it
if I
over.
want to change the oil, I'll do it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
to a thicker oil. And I may take the rear diff out and whatchamacallit, put that grease on there.
Sure.
But the car, and I'll check the clutch just to make sure the bearings are still okay or the shoes haven't worn too much or whatever. But the car is built and staying together.
You never have intent of freshening it up mid race.
It's no, I mean, because it was perfect when I got there.
Fair.
You know, as long as you're not crashing and
Yeah.
bending hinge pins and that
Yeah,
kind of stuff,
yeah.
obviously. But yeah, I'm not taking the front and rear clip off and all that stuff. And I'm a huge believer in not spraying your car with anything and blowing it off. That I think is the worst thing, because aside from ruining your bearings, you're getting water and all that chemicals in the hinge pins. And when you let it sit overnight, it's all rusty, and then your car's not going to work the same. So there's a little bit of a thing where if you keep running it as you ran it, you know how it's going to work. If for 2 weeks you've been spraying it off with Simple Green and blowing it off, everything's rusty. Well, it's not going to handle the same when you polish your hinge pins or clean your hinge pins and make everything fresh again. So it's better to just keep it as is. Like most of the time, I'll blow the car off and then I'll take a rag or a brush and brush the exhaust, whatever residue and dirt.
Sure.
I'll clean that with a rag. I won't ever spray anything on my car, any liquid, let's say.
And I think LCRC is a perfect example of this hypothetical. You show up with your car freshly rebuilt on Thursday or Friday, and you thrash and practice and tune and all that. And then Friday night, you want to, have your car looking good. So, like me, myself, and I go over and I put the modal wash on my car and I spray it off with the air compressor. And then I might brush and hit with the rag and then spray the SC1 on it. And I'm like, ooh, this car looks sweet. I'm going to look so good in Q1. Well, then I'm going to go out Q1 and be like, I can't even drive this. Because of everything you just said, Paul. And
yeah.
and I've learned that moving forward. But that's a lot of things. I'm not even like newer racers. You can be a veteran at this and still not even like. I don't want to call it simple because I'm not like making fun of anyone, but it's little things like that can really screw up your Q1.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it looks great sitting on the bench, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it's going to work good going
Exactly.
on the track.
Exactly.
What do you got, Mike, before I want to move
Oh,
on?
you know what? Sorry. But
Yep.
so then going back to after the race, I forgot that was part of your question. So after the race, the car comes 100% completely apart. The diff cases come off the car with the arms, the front end comes off, the clips come off the car, the tank comes off. I usually the center diff mount screwed to the chassis, but I take the diff out with the brake assembly. The engine comes out, obviously. The chassis, I spray it with Simple Green and wash it in my basement in our utility tub and dry that off so that all looks clean again. Although when Taylor pits me, you barely have to clean the car because he does such a perfect job of getting all the fuel in the tank.
Thank you.
That's very vital.
That should be the goal.
Very vital.
So it makes my job a lot easier.
Do you actually have I've never been complimented that way. Do you actually have pit guys that spill fuel all over the place?
Man, sometimes it's been really bad. Yeah, really
Oh,
bad.
Gosh.
Yeah. But so yeah, first I clean the chassis. Then I'll take the rear end apart, disassemble. I don't take the wing mount off or the shock tower from the diff case, but the arms come off, the hinge pins come out, the diff comes out, everything goes in an ultrasonic cleaner, all except for metal parts. I don't put my drive shafts and bearings and hinge pins, but all the plastic goes in ultrasonic cleaner, which I use water and Simple Green. And then the hinge pins, I'll take some Scotch Brite and just either put it in a drill. I don't polish them, but I put it in a drill and clean them just because it's a little easier than, doing it by hand. Check the drive pins or the out drives, rebuild the diff, and put that all back together, and then move to the front end. Same thing. And then, yeah, I mean, like I said, when I put it together, it's put together for the duration. It's not, nothing's coming loose. And then, to start over again. And that takes a day at least to do that. So.
Taylor, before you move on, speaking on the maintenance, you do all the things and stuff that you just mentioned. Do you have a specific program for your bearings, or do you just replace them as you feel they're bad?
I just replace them. I've never been successful myself having a bearing that was notchy or however you want to say it and cleaning it and actually being good again.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I've never been able to do it. So I just chuck it and put a new one in.
Yeah, sure. So you're just replacing bearings as they go, as you feel they're gritty, though.
Yeah, I mean, some bearings have been in my car for 6 months, and some of them I have to change them every other race or whatever.
Yeah.
But I always check them, spin them, and some,
yeah.
The ones that have been in there for a while, they'll start kind of feeling dry. Even though they still feel smooth, they'll feel dry.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of putting oil in that bearing, because then it somehow makes the dirt go in there, and then it's crunchy.
Yeah, somehow it's
I just
worse.
throw it out and put it in one. Yeah.
It's funny hearing your maintenance program. It's like I learned something from you over the years. It's where I pretty much do the exact same thing that you just described.
And then down the ladder, I do the same thing as Mike. So it's funny how your legacy trickles.
Crumbles.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and unless I usually, if I'm going to go to a race, and let's say I'm going to go practice at my local track that week, I probably won't do all that, but I'll redo the diff with the grease, check the clutch, that kind of stuff. And then maybe one day, and then it's a rebuild again, it's never like spray it off or blow it off and leave it for multiple days, or practice sessions or races or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. All right, Taylor.
Okay. So I wanted to lead into what's on your shirt. Mach 1. So how did Mach 1 start? The affiliation? Let's talk about the beginnings of that. Your introduction to Mach 1, Paul.
Yeah, so I don't know what year it was, but my friend Darren Keynes from Australia was living in the US, and he was running X-Ray. And I would see him at PNB and the Tilt Yard and a couple races, and we just kind of got talking and became good friends. And he has a lot of the same, I don't know, isms as me. like, whatever that is, so we kind of just hit it off pretty good. And then he moved back to Australia, and he was still racing e-buggy and nitro buggy there and everything. And he was having trouble with batteries lasting and the life cycle not being good and whatever. So he just, kind of went around and was buying different batteries, trying to figure out which ones for his racing at the time were, good. So he didn't have failures, or, you didn't keep buying batteries all the time, because it's like, oh, I'm spending all this money, keep buying batteries, right? So you want to find one that's reliable, and, all the batteries, they have their issues from time to time, but, you want to pick the best overall one. So he found a good battery, and he's like, started buying some for his buddies too, and kind of just one thing led to another, and he just said, well, hey, let me start selling batteries as a business. So then he formed the company Mach 1. And think at the time he had a guy in the US, a little bit after he started and got it going, he had a guy in the US doing it. And that guy didn't want to do it anymore. And he's like, "Hey, Paul, do you want to start selling my stuff in the United States?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." Because at the time I was actually even using the batteries and a couple of the other things that he made or sold. So he made like 3D printed battery trays. He had a guy make those for him. One of his other friends in Australia, and like a receiver box for the XB8E before they made the new one that they have with the cover for the receiver and all that. So they made like a bunch of little things, 3D printed stuff, and the batteries. And so then the guy that was doing the stuff here, he didn't want to do it anymore. So I was like, "Yeah, all right, I'll do it. I'll see how it is. I could use the extra money." And um, yeah, it just kind of turned into that. And once I started doing that, he then got into doing servos. So we have servos, batteries. We have a full size servo for 8 scale, a shorty servo for 10 scale, and then we just came out with recently a few weeks ago another high torque shorty servo for 10 scale. We have charge cables, battery cases, tools, sensor wires. I think that's probably about it. So yeah, and then it kind of rolled on from there, and then yeah, I don't know.
What would be your title currently for Mach 1?
I guess U.S. sales.
Like U.S. sales manager or something like that, Paul?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay.
We also have team drivers in the U.S. too that it's not as involved with as being a car manufacturer team manager. Because you buy the batteries, you charge them, you put them in your car, you go. Unless somebody has some kind of issue, it's pretty, you know, or servo, let's say. You're not like worrying about, oh, how's your servo working today? Like they work or they don't, kind of thing. So that the team manager part of that is not as involved in setting up a car and all that stuff. So definitely a lot easier.
I want
Go
to
ahead, Alex.
I want to throw a testament out to Mach 1 servos at least real quick. Um, it was last year at LCRC. I was running a Tekin servo, and I'm not knocking Tekin, but my Tekin servo went out in my e-buggy, and so I went to Kevin, and Kevin was like, "Try one of Chickie's Mach 1 servos." I'm like, okay, so I put it in my car, and I've been running that since in my e-buggy. And at Dudley Hill, when we went out there for their grand opening, I deleted the servo saver out of my e-buggy. Try running it without a servo saver to see how I like that, if I can notice anything better or worse. And during practice, lost steering. So naturally, like I knew going into it, I'm like, this is probably gonna break my servo. So like lost steering, something like, oh, broke my servo. I got another one. I'm good. Grabbed the car. I broke. That's the replacement for the servo saver. I don't know what you want to call it, but that like Ackerman part of the Techno buggy, that's what broke,
Right.
not the servo.
Oh wow.
So then I just put my servo saver back in. Been running it since like that with no issues on the
That's
servo.
wild.
So I just like that really impressed me right there, how tough the servos are. That it broke the steering bits of my buggy rather than the servo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's wild. That's awesome.
yeah, I definitely, not that I didn't stand by him since then, but I definitely, that's like, yep, I will always run these servos, because that, like, what more evidence do you need that they're a great servo?
Yeah, that's crazy not to have a servo saver on your 8-scale buggy, but
Yeah, well, yeah, I listened to because James Henry doesn't run one, and he convinced me into it, and I'm like, yeah, I'll try it. And, well, that's what happened, but servo's fine. So, I mean, it's all back on now, but
yeah.
So, but yeah, Mach 1 servos,
awesome.
legit. And the batteries. I've been running a Mach 1 4-cell on my e-buggy for equal amount of time, if not longer, the same single pack, and
Yeah.
I love it.
Awesome.
I'll speak on Mach 1 servos too. Is it the MV55? Is that the model number, Paul? Is that correct?
Yep.
So I've been running the MV55 in my own personal cars. Kevin got me to switch. I want to say 3 years ago, possibly, in my e-truck first, because e-truck, I went through two popular brands, I believe, I had issues with that are household names that will not be named because I'm not trying to talk bad about any other products, but
Sure.
they're very popular brands. They had random failures. And I'm not saying it's because anything iffy or different. Everyone does have a failure every once in a while. And it's kind of frustrating too when you're away at the race. And Kevin told me to switch to Mach 1s, and I switched Mach 1, and that servo ever since has been in my e-truck. And then when I built my new Nitro Bucky, I've used Mach 1 servos for both the throttle and servo ever since. Not a single problem.
Awesome. Yeah, it's crazy how many servos we've sold and how little have been like returned or failed, I guess you would say, or whatever. Like when just running other brands, just myself, it was like, okay, you'd have, one or two or whatever go a year or maybe three. And it's like, and that's just me. But I don't get really maybe even that many a year, maybe three or something. So it's like, if I was just getting three before myself, how many more people from that other running that other brand were they
Right.
replacing or having problems with, right? It's like, oh my God. But yeah, they've been just really, really good.
What batteries do you offer? This might be a difficult question to answer off the top of your head. I know there is quite a few that you do offer, but I'm curious to hear about what battery configurations you guys have.
Right now we have the low profile shorty for 10 scale, the full size shorty, which a lot of guys run in their 8 scale e buggies, and then also 10 scale. And then we also have low profile 4S with bullets and XT90, and then a full size 4S with XT90, like for e-truggy. That's high capacity 8400. And those are the ones that we have.
Is there any plans of doing a 5 mil bullet larger battery for truck and not the XT90?
I think the problem we ran into with that when we came out with the big battery is the guy that or the place we get our batteries from, they don't have that. So if we had to do that, we would have to pay for a new case and tooling. And we don't sell a lot of 4S batteries, so it kind of business
It's not
wise
worth
and
the
business
yeah,
sense, it's
juice
not
isn't
worth
worth the
it.
Doesn't make
squeeze.
sense.
It was kind of the
Yeah.
same thing with the Mugen Shorty 4S brick.
That was my next question. So,
Yeah, like I talked to Kevin a lot about that, and I tried to find out. I did find out. Can we make this? And hey, yeah, you can make it, but you have to pay for the tooling for the case. And I was like, we're not going to sell that many of those, so it's kind of a hard,
So
hard thing.
all the listeners and subscribers and all that need to start buying Mach 1 so we can make more money to start doing the things and stuff. Right? Right.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, because I
yeah, unfortunately, there's only a couple 4S shorties on the market.
yeah.
One had just recently returned. So not a
I
lot
feel
of-
like it's the same for full size 4S stick packs as well. With bullets, that is. There's only a few to select from if bullets is your style. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just not a super popular battery. Otherwise, like a 6500 or ish, whatever, LCG 4S. I mean, that is a really popular battery, and everybody has that.
oh yeah.
But like you said, the shorty 4S and then the big battery 4S, like with bullets or even just in general, not a lot of people have those. So it must just not be that great of a seller.
Well, I mean, it seems like in today's, this is a whole nother conversation, but in today's world of A-scale racing, everyone's kind of going to the dual shorty configuration compared to single
Yeah,
stick pack or
exactly.
single shorty 4-cell.
Right. Yeah.
But one thing we can all kind of, I think, agree with, one of the largest brands that you see a lot of, like the Techno car, right? The Techno e-buggy. the Mach 1 does have a fantastic battery for that car.
Oh yeah.
The 6500 low profile pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like last year, I had some batteries blow up, and in a pinch, I went to the shop and bought some. You know, and they've been great.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of batteries, this wasn't even a question I'd written down. Do you want to talk about battery maintenance, battery health, things like that, Paul? As
Yeah.
a
I mean,
kind of like a retailer, this would be great for listeners too that are buying the product.
yeah, I mean, any brand battery really. Some of the key points to make your batteries last longer. They say to charge at 1S. You could probably charge a little higher. Once you get into over 2S and stuff like that, charge rate, you're basically every time you charge your battery, you're lessening the life cycle. Leaving your battery fully charged ruins the life cycle. Leaving it too low ruins the life cycle.
On that, before you go further, how long will you leave a battery fully charged? I know in my own practice, I have roughly like a 24-ish hour time frame that I'll allow myself personally before I'll discharge it. But what do you got?
So that is the kind of general recommendation. Don't leave it longer than 24 hours, I would say. But like even this last week when I was at Browns, I was going to go out for a practice and then I charged the battery and decided not to. I discharged it down to storage right there. I don't ever let my I don't like to do that. Even though they say it's probably okay, I don't want to take a chance and you know hurt the battery or ruin the life cycle of it or you know I would also say running the battery too low. Like if you can tell the battery is pretty slow, more than likely you're ruining the battery pretty good. So, you know, keep it to, if you're practicing, keep it to 8 to 10 minutes. A lot of times I'm on the driver's stand and I'm up there for 12 minutes or whatever. And I'm like, I think I better pull it in, or whatever. Cause yeah, I mean, definitely running it down too low will ruin it for sure. And
Some
it's
pretty good tips.
it's a risk for something happening to it too, like health. Like I don't know if you would say health wise, but it could blow up in your car or puff and blow up in your pits or whatever. So yeah, running it too low is definitely not a good idea. I've also seen. Sorry, I also have seen chargers ruin batteries. Not necessarily blow them up, but some chargers and even chargers with two different ports, an A and a B, let's say, one of the ports will go bad and it won't balance the battery. And you'll keep charging it and running it and charging it and running it. And it'll keep getting more and more out of balance to where eventually one of the cells just says, I'm done. I had a guy have that happen to, and he was going through a few batteries, and I'm like, God, I don't know what's going on, but we need to check your charger because this is not normal for this to be happening. And we found out his charger was bad. So, having good charge leads is important. Balancing in them is also important. When you have bullets, keeping the bullets clean is important. And also tight. For e-buggy, I don't like the bullets where you put them in and then tighten a screw or whatever, because with A scale that can come loose, and then you risk melting the case because it creates a lot of heat, melting the wire off the bullet and not finishing your race. So I just use an old-fashioned bullet, and if I need to, if I feel like it's a little bit loose, I'll take my 1.5 millimeter wrench and stick it in there and expand it a
Ball it
little bit
out.
or get a new one or something. But you definitely don't want those things being loose. The ones that you, like I said, you tighten, they're great for 10 scale and all that, but for 8 scale, not me.
That definitely speaks to the importance, I would say, of balance charging and
Yeah.
always kind of keeping an eye on while you're charging. I would say I recommend the people to just seeing what the cells difference are.
Yeah.
If they're more than a couple tenths, you
Yeah.
probably have a problem, or should be looking into that. I myself have bought balance boards too. When try to charge multiple like 2S batteries when I used to run that configuration in
Yeah.
the past, and have had problems with balance boards themselves. And
Right.
then you watch the charger and you look and be like, why is cell 1 at 3.9 but cell 2's at like 4.10? No, we
Yeah.
got a problem.
Yeah.
And you're running 6 amps into it or something like that at the time, and
Yeah.
it's pumping a whole bunch of amps just into one cell but not the other. So
Yeah. And then also, don't charge your batteries in your house. Not a good idea, because any battery at any time could have an issue. I've seen racetracks burn down. CRC up in Rome, New York. The battery was just sitting there, not being charged, and it caught on fire. In my house, I keep my batteries in an ammo case. There's actually a video on YouTube about drilling holes in it so it doesn't explode if the battery has a problem. It actually lets the air and the flames, kind of like go through the holes, so it's not a bomb, basically. But definitely, always keep an eye on it. Store them in a ammo case, metal ammo case. That's what I do anyway. So
Speaking on
what sort of other products? Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, speaking on charging, so since at least the battery I have from Mach 1 is a high voltage pack, when you have a high voltage pack, how do you feel the necessity of charging it to the high voltage is, Paul?
I think as long as your race is not long enough, or is long enough that you don't run it down too much, I don't think it matters if you charge it to high voltage or 4.2, or even my carpet car, my 2-wheel, I actually charge my battery to 4.1 volts, and it's a high voltage battery, which would be 8.2, because when I first, even if I charge it to 4 or 8.4, it's just got too much power for the first minute. But when I charge it to 8.1, it seems to be the same the whole entire time. So I can tune my motor to how I want it to feel, and it's always going to feel like that. So instead of being fast as hell and I can't control it, and then, I'll slow my motor down. Well, then when my battery goes low, then it's too slow, and whatever. So yeah, there's not a problem with charging it to a lower voltage at all.
Okay, I just see a lot of people. Naturally, as most people know, I'm as much as I can put in it. At as many amps, I'm doing it because I'm an idiot. But I see a lot of people with high voltage 4S packs charge them to the standard 4.2 a cell, and I don't know enough. They always do good, so I didn't know if I know the difference you get for that first couple laps, but I didn't know if you were really hurting the battery or hurting your runtime with it.
No. If you're going to be running close on runtime, I would think you would want to charge it to high voltage. But if you're not, if you're not ever having an issue, then I would, you can charge it to whatever. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So I've seen Mach 1 came out with a decent amount of products here recently, like tools, like a pair of shock pliers and stuff. I seen you guys post just the other day. What sort of other new products could be on the horizon for them?
I think that's more of probably a Darren question. He's the guy involved in that. He usually runs things by me. He hasn't really run much by me lately. We did just come out with that higher torque shorty servo. And I don't know about new products, but we're always just trying to concentrate on making our products that we have better. A few years ago, when he started with servos, he went with one company, and then I started running them, and we figured out, the servo worked fine, but we found out that the inside of the servo was actually plastic. So after a little bit of time of running it, a month or two or whatever, the spline would get loose, and we were like, why is this happening? So we kind of took the servos apart, tried to figure out what it was. Some of the cases inside were actually, where the bearings were cracked, and some of them just wore. So then we said, okay, well, we need to make the inside of the servo metal now, or aluminum. And so we're just always constantly trying to figure out ways to make the servos better, or all our products better, basically. So yeah.
That alludes to the next question I have is what sort of things separate Mach 1 from other manufacturers?
I think a lot of our, basically kind of what I just said, a lot of our attention to detail, and some of that is like carried over with my racing and my preparation of my cars, is like everything always, you strive to make everything perfect so you don't have failures. And I think we do a really good job of having a solid product.
Excellent. Mike?
I got nothing at the moment. Sorry.
Let's take another commercial break and then come right back and talk about other things and stuff. So let's hear from our friends down at ACS Hobbies, Tony and Colleen, always doing the good stuff, which I think Tony said he was going to call you about things and stuff, whether or not he actually did. Did he?
He did not.
Ah!
He did not, no.
Tony!
He's a liar.
Tony! I'm going to call him during the break and be like, hey, man. Anyways, Tony and Colleen, Monroeville, PA, check them out.
So, how do you hobby? At ACS Hobbies, we've got everything to fuel your passion and spark your creativity. Whether you're into RC cars, model trains, boats, or planes, we have a huge selection of kits, parts, and accessories. Need paints or tools? We've got you covered. Test your skills on our RC crawler course or race on our oval track. There's always something fun to do. Plus, discover an awesome range of games for all ages. ACS Hobbies is your ultimate destination for hobby enthusiasts. Visit us today and start building your next adventure.
And we're back. And Taylor's frozen in the most hilarious manner.
Yes, he is. Taylor, you look angry.
Edit the wiener into Taylor's mouth now.
Yeah.
Let me know
Lizard,
when it
lizard,
unfreezes.
lizard.
Is it
Lizard.
Frozen?
While Taylor fixes his camera, to get him out of this funny pose, Paul, we learned a lot about your past and your
Fixed.
present. How is your... Oh, and you touched on like the X-ray future, but just your race program for the rest of the summer. What's that look like for you? Like leading into Worlds, because I'm assuming you're probably going to Worlds.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
So let's see. Then, well, the next thing I got going on is the clinic at LCRC in 2 weeks or a week and a half. Then after that would be the race at LCRC, the July race. Is that the Party Rock race, right?
ProTech.
Oh, So we just had the
Yeah.
ProTech.
We
Oh
just
no,
had
okay,
Party
you're
Rock.
right. Okay, yeah. I mean, I know you guys are right. I'm confused. And Wicked Weekend's a little up in the air, but I think I'm probably gonna go. Then we have, what's that? That's July, so August. Let's see. I think. Oh, so the Tilted Worlds,
Yeah, that's the first weekend in August.
first weekend in August. My plan is to go to that. Then the Roarnats at A Main in the middle of August. Then Mugen Challenge.
That's Fuel Nats at A-Main, right?
Fuel Nats,
Or
yeah,
the
but they also
or the
they're gonna do e-buggy.
They just do
truck
it all
weekend.
together now.
Yep.
Oh, okay, that's right. Okay, that's forgot to change that. Yep.
Yep.
That's what
beginning
Cash, I
of
think, was
Sep-
trying to go to. He just posted that, right?
Who's that?
Shane.
Cash.
Yeah, Cash, yeah.
Oh yeah, yep.
Oh,
yep.
was it Cat? Oh yeah, it was Cat.
Yeah, it was Cash. Yep. Then the cancer race, and then the Worlds. So I'll probably mix a couple races in between there locally, or maybe another big race. I'm sure, because I'm a glutton for punishment. But yeah, that's kind of my schedule till the Worlds, and then it's probably back to
Back to carpet then after that.
carpet. Yeah, yeah. I enjoy that. I like carpet a lot.
Where do you race normally for carpet?
So I was going to RC1 a little bit, but unfortunately they closed. But I have a track in Ashtabula. It's about an hour and 20 minutes or an hour and a half from my house. Arcs.
Yeah, I went there once last year. Yeah.
Yeah, that track's good. Last year I went down to EN one time. I want to try and make it down there more this winter. And then there's also Ed's now. A couple.
Yeah.
It's for sure. It's been a year, maybe two now. He has carpet.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make it down there, and then I also want to maybe get out to Richfield a couple times.
Okay.
Richfield is a really good time.
Yeah.
Fun.
So
Ed's. We checked out Ed's carpet 2 years ago now. It was actually
Yeah.
really nice. I
Was
didn't
it?
race there when it was dirt, but the
Yeah.
carpet, it's nice. It's a really
Yeah.
nice place.
Yeah, I've seen videos and pictures of it. It looks really good. So,
Yeah.
I want to try and get down there.
Honestly, Paul,
Got to do the. Go ahead.
if you can pick a Richfield race to go to, it would be Sean Duffy's one he puts on with his series,
Okay.
but for the PA State Champs.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not sure how he's doing the series this year yet, but last year Taylor was there. It was a killer time. Saturday qual, Sunday mains. We had a blast.
I hate carpet, and I still hate carpet, but I did have a good time doing it.
Yeah, it was
And
awesome.
I plan on doing it again. That's what I was going to say, is if you're going to do one Richfield event, it would be Duffy's season ender, whatever it's called,
Yeah.
PA
Yeah.
State Champs thing.
Right.
It was kind of where all the heavy hitters went. And
Okay.
well, it was a 2-day event, and Alex was the race director.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time. And
Cool.
also, they have a chef there and a full kitchen staff
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything.
Oh, nice.
It's all in house. It was
Breakfast, lunch, dinner menus, whole nine.
yeah.
Right.
It's killer.
They still race on road there or no?
I don't think anymore.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think so.
No. Speaking of on road, do you have any intentions of on road in the near future? Or is that pretty much?
I've thought about doing 8 scale on road, just maybe one or two races in a summer or something, but I have such limited time now.
Right.
With so many off-road races and running a family business and home with my wife and son and everything, like to add something else in is like it's hard, it's tough. And I used to race just like the last couple of years I raced on road, I would just go to the indoor champs
Yeah.
and in Cleveland, and I would get a new car the month before the race. I'd practice a couple times, I'd go to the race pretty unprepared. After the race, I would sell the car, and then next year repeat. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
not worth it. If you're not going to really do it, for me, it's not worth doing
Sure.
it. Like I have to be all in, and I can't be all in if I got too many other things going on. So
Right.
I still enjoy it, but I
Yeah.
don't have time for it.
So speaking with on road, real quick, out of my own curiosity, is there any talk of? Again, it falls into the whole already a busy schedule. Is there any talk of like Dakota doing any on road with X-Ray or?
We've talked about it a little bit here and there, but I don't know if anything's ever really come about. I mean, he races a lot of travel races a year also, so
Yeah.
trying to fit it in, when we don't have another off-road race is pretty tough. So yeah, I don't know. I don't
Right.
know if that'll happen or not, or maybe at some point it will.
Does X-Ray really have an on road like that guy in the U.S. right now?
So for modified, I would say it would be Kevin Hebert, who is
Okay.
actually from Quebec, Canada,
Okay.
but he's like, I would say
The
the
North
US.
American U.S. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you still
Yeah.
have a. Well, I know Paul Lemieux like has his roots in OG on road, right?
Yeah, but he doesn't race anymore.
Yeah. Chase doesn't really touch the on road market.
He did a couple years, went to the indoor champs, kind of like the same thing I did, and then just he's so into off road now
Right.
and doing that full time. It's too hard to. It's not really hard to go back and forth so much with the driving. It's just
The schedule.
being into that and the knowledge of what to do when, and
Yeah.
when you're not doing it all the time, you just don't know all the little things that to do.
Yeah,
basically.
in today's age of technology where we're constantly evolving and every
Yeah.
form, there's always a new trick thing to do. And the 8
Yeah.
scale schedule is already busy enough, and then throw 10 scale on top
Yeah.
of that.
Right.
But yeah, just curious.
Have you ever dabbled in oval?
So when I worked for Parma, the guy that worked there, Brad Hayes, who now actually has a real race team, oval real cars. I think they're maybe asphalt oval sprint car or something. I don't know exactly what it is, but he designed an oval car for Parma. We made that and sold that for a while. And at that time, I actually did a little bit of that. I raced at a velodrome one time. That was really fun. It was in Indianapolis. And then I also raced a couple other regional races and then raced the Carpet Nats, which was pretty close to my house, the War Carpet Nats, like maybe 1998 or something, I think. But that was really the only oval I've done.
It's kind of funny. What sparked me to ask that was I was trying to find in my YouTube history of like with the video and the year, but there was an old video from the '90s of it was in Florida. I think it was a Chili Bowl race. Like, did they run on road at Chili Bowl
Oh,
No.
it had to have been the Snowbirds.
Yeah, it would have been
or Snowbirds?
yeah.
That's it, Snowbirds. And you're in the video, and I was like, I know that guy. Yeah, it
Was
was like
that
was
the
probably
video
carpet
that the guy
racers.
from
Carpet racers.
Yeah, the guy from Steel City Hobbies? Is that
Yeah.
the video?
I think that's what it was.
And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
dude, who is the guy from Trinity? Like the owner.
Ernie?
Like, yeah, he
Ernie.
always had the big cigar in his mouth the whole time
Oh,
in the
yeah.
movie. Yeah, it's
Yep.
I recommend everyone get on YouTube, look up Carpet Racers, and it's like an hour and 30 movie. It's about OG roots of RC racing, specifically with on-road. And
Yeah.
like it's where Scotty got his roots with announcing, and Scotty was the
Yeah.
first one in America to be like, all right, I'm gonna bring the baddest racers to Vegas.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And you'll see Paul in it.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk or anything, but he's
Yeah.
on the driver's stand. You see him.
Of course, I'm on the driver's stand, probably in practice.
Running laps. Scotty's like, Paul, get off the track.
Yeah. And they got their 8-foot long antennas trying not to
Oh,
hit
yeah.
each other.
Oh
with them.
yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
Taylor, are you getting that beat good, or are you just gluing yourself to the table?
Good enough to kick your ass.
Yeah. Well, I have my own driver.
His name's Ezra.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't count.
No, we're still shaking down the car.
So am I. I haven't ever driven it on dirt, like real
You
dirt.
should hire a driver.
I need it.
Have Yoder drive your car.
Yoda's already going to be driving his
yeah,
scale,
he's gonna be driving the
his mini truck.
He needs to dump
mini
that thing.
truggy, and he's in the contention for points there.
He's getting nitro buggy.
You should ask Thomas Kaufman. This way Ezra and
Ooh,
Thomas
that'd
can
be
beat the
cool.
shit out of each other. Yeah,
That would be pretty cool.
they'd have fun.
Or maybe Paul wants to run a short course.
I've never driven a short course car.
Perfect.
Ever.
What?
Perfect.
I've never
I
drove
feel
one.
like so many off-road racers get their start there.
Yeah, no, I jumped right into e-buggy and nitro buggy.
I mean, to be fair,
think-
most like good drivers hate short course.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's why I love short course.
I
I
think
don't.
it's funny.
I don't think I have anything else at this. Oh, did we talk about the thing and the thing?
Nope.
We didn't. Paul, would you like to talk about the new thing you have with Mach 1 and Slow is Fast? You know.
Yeah. So we're going to be collaborating together and sponsoring the podcast, Mach 1. And along with that, we're going to have a discount code, Slow is Fast 10, with LCRC for the Mach 1 products. So you can go to LCRC's website, search for Mach 1, and when you check out, do the coupon code Slow is Fast 10, and you get 10% off.
So yeah, you get two things there. You get a really good product from Mach 1, and you get to support a local hobby shop, the best
Yep.
hobby shop of LCRC. So
Yeah, that was the whole idea. Is yeah, I can do it on my website, but that doesn't really help the industry or the hobby shops or, you know. So
Yeah.
doing it with
Really-
LCRC was like the perfect thing.
When you
Agreed.
buy
I
your
really
new
love the
Mugen
idea.
kit through LCRC, you could fit it out with Mach 1 servos, just like that.
There you go.
Bingo. And while you're
And then
there,
save
get yourself
10%.
a bump master.
Yeah, there you go. One-stop shop for everything.
It is, yeah.
That's for sure. They got everything.
I actually put in an order while we were on this podcast through LCRC.
What'd you order, Alex?
Suck up.
I ordered a new 2.5 millimeter because I broke mine. A couple different fans, which are now null and void because they were for my testing purposes for my fan mount that I tried printing and then my printer quit working. So, well, whatever. And then
Was it a Mach 1 fan? It
yes,
probably was.
one of them was one ProTech
Oh,
and
was
one
it?
Mach
Okay.
1. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then shock hole, shock piston drill bits because once again I'm talking to James Henry, so now we're doing a thing that I'm following suit with, which may or may not work.
A little
That's the
off
fun thing
topic,
about-
but the whole James Henry setup on your car, did that work?
It was definitely better than where I was.
Okay. So don't listen to Uncle Mike, listen to James Henry.
No, it's not that. It's that I'm at a point where I drive different from Uncle Mike,
Yeah, no.
and so I need
This
to
is
start
what
doing other
happens
things.
with the Mugen stuff. So many people come to me for setups. Like just the other day, I had a kid ask me, "Hey, what do you do for high grip?" And it's not what do I do for high grip. What is your car not doing or doing
Yeah.
that you do or don't want it to do, and
Right.
where is it at currently setup wise, and what can we go from there? Not
Yeah.
what do I do for high grip. What do you need out of your car, and let's figure
Right.
out what you need. So
Well,
that's
yeah.
how I try to.
I feel
always
like
approach it.
it goes back to the whole thing you were talking with Paul earlier on how, an easy car and a fast car. Like how I had my car set up was very similar, if not identical, to Mike's. And a year ago, with my skill level, it was an easy car to drive. And it was a fast car. But now moving forward, my driving style has changed, so what I want out of a fast setup is different, and that setup doesn't work for me to go fast with. I can go slow, like not slow, but like, I can run consistent, but I'm not contending anywhere. You know what I mean? Especially
Totally agree, and I'm in the same boat as that. Like as time goes on a little bit, my car is a little less in the track each
Yeah.
season. It seems like.
Yeah, and like we have these like, I don't want to say kind of numb setups, honestly.
Yeah.
Or at least for us, they're numb, and we're trying to overdrive that setup essentially to get it to do what we want, to where we just end up into the pipe, all over the track, off the track, into telephone poles in my case. So,
Hey, I
he
was the
put a
first
sunroof
one
in his
too,
body,
also
Paul.
to
I
go
don't know
out
if
of
you
the
were there for
ballpark
that.
on the new
you
layout.
were,
Remember that?
yeah.
Oh gosh, that was a
His,
weird
his
fluke.
S15 had a sunroof.
It still does. It's my new
You
practice.
hit the pole on the right side.
Wait.
Yep.
Oh my god.
I know.
There's
I've hit that
the
before, and I
JC
know
turn on the
many.
back.
Yeah, I know many people that have. Adam Curry.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Adam Curry built a few years ago a brand new e-buggy. Brand new e-buggy. First lap goes out there, hits the pole, rips the whole front end off. It was pretty funny.
It
Well,
happens.
not at the time, but
Right now, it's funny.
Yeah. He wasn't. Well, he might have been laughing actually. He's like, I can't believe that happened. Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, it was good.
even though my S15 body developed a sunroof, my Techno car with my Mach 1 battery and my Mach 1 servos were unharmed.
There you go.
So,
And,
If it breaks the servo saver and the servo doesn't break, that's pretty decent.
yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, I was extremely impressed when I did my damage assessment. I'm like, that is a $3 part compared to a $100 and some part.
Yeah, right.
I also think another true test for servos is 10 scale carpet.
Oh, yeah.
They're direct mounted. You have aluminum bell cranks.
Yeah.
You hit a wall and that thing survives. That's a good servo.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember having years ago racing 10 scale, I had servos that like you would just tap something, the gears would strip out, and you're like, oh god, you know.
Which I know I don't have a servo for my Mugen touring car yet, so now that Mach 1
Yeah.
has the low pro one, I'm definitely gonna have to get that for it.
Sweet.
And Alex, I don't like how you're saying my setup is slow. When we
That's
proved
not
it's
what I
faster than
meant.
both of us can drive.
That's not what I meant. Well, I mean, yeah, Joey did take it. And
Joey drove my car faster than his own,
Yeah.
so take it.
You know what I meant. Mike's setup is very good. Maybe my driving
just
need
suck.
altered. Yeah, I mean, I suck. I've been losing a lot of money to Mike this season.
Yeah, the fridge is kind of bare. It's missing some monies.
Yeah. Well, we're done with that. Done losing money. Done.
He says my car's slow, but I beat him the last 3 races.
You just wait. James and I have been. Well, James has been testing. James Henry has been testing,
Yeah.
and then telling me what he's been doing. And I have some new tricks up my
know.
sleeve.
I've been talking to him too.
And
No.
none of those tricks involve more practice.
Quit talking to my friend James.
I've been talking to James and we've been bouncing ideas, and then I go to Gary V and I talk to Gary and we develop. Gary's helped me a lot develop my car to me.
No matter what, Saturday night at the ProTech Cup at about 1 a.m., I will be wholesaling my car again, probably, because that has been the ritual at LCRC this year. The truck is great, but
Paul, you
Elon-
missed that. Literally 1 a.m. Alex goes back to his pits and wholesales the entire thing.
front to back.
I don't mean a little bit. I mean everything possible. Just starts changing it. I'm like, wow, good luck, sir. I'm going to bed.
Yeah, a whole new shock package, as in pistons, springs, oil, diffs, everything's at every link, every shock position, top and bottom, different hole, complete. And it kind of worked.
I'm glad I wasn't there that race because I didn't want to be the last one at 1 a.m. there working on my car. I'm glad it was you.
One of your stepkids actually was one of the last ones there. Colton Fernari was.
Oh yeah, him and his dad. They
Yeah.
work hard for sure.
It was funny because it was me, Davey, the Gib, Joey, and then Colton. And I'm working on my car. Davey, Gib, Joey. We're just like, shooting the shit as I'm working on my car. And then there's Colton working on his car. And the whole time I'm just like, Colton, are you done yet? We're waiting on you. And we just laugh. And like an hour goes by. I'm like, Colton, we're still waiting on you. And he's like, wait, do I go to shut these lights off? And I'm like, no, these lights stay on. Don't worry about that. But then the joke came. Like it was like Colton was taking his buggy apart, putting all of his plastics into a pot, melting the plastics back down, and then remolding the plastics. Like, that's how far down he was rebuilding his car. He was just freshening it up, too. He wasn't even wholesaling it. He was just freshening it up. And that's the difference. Colton's a young kid that is really fast that does that. And, I was 3 sheets to the wind, hoping I put my shocks together right.
That's awesome.
But, well, I don't have anything else.
Sounds good.
Gentlemen.
Neither do I.
Good too.
Paul, who would you
Paul, do you
like
want
to
to do any shout outs?
Yeah, who'd you like to thank?
Thank you guys for having me on. First of all,
thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it was a good time. Thanks to all my sponsors: X-Ray, RC America, Mach 1, J Concepts, Easy Customs, Boom Graphics, TQ Wire, RC America. Moody and FX. And Amen.
He's checking his cheat sheet.
Drake the Drake for breaking in the engines, and Flashpoint Fuel. And also
Paul, do
my
you have
wife.
Flashpoint Fuel, by the way?
I have 2. Well, I have about 1.5 gallons left.
Do you want to sell that 1.5 gallons?
How's he
I'll bring
gonna
it
race
to the-
Protec?
I'll bring it to the clinic for sure.
So,
But you know, thanks to my wife for putting up with me because I'm lucky I found her for sure.
So we'll clip that and make sure you share that clip with her whenever we post it. So, see,
Perfect.
honey.
A lot of times when I'm at the races and I'll do like a qualifying day, blah 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 or whatever, she'll be like, "And don't forget your wife," you know, or whatever. So I had to add that in, but yeah,
For sure. Taylor, you want to go through your list?
yeah, LCRC, what's most all of us are going to think anyways. Mugen Siki, Toby at 46RC, Mike at MP Designs for paint all my bodies, Paul for Mach 1 servos. You got me hooked on that. That's definitely working well. That's all I got.
Mike?
Yeah. What Techno, J Concepts, Tekin, MKS, LCRC, ACS Hobbies, Chris for Paint My Bodies, and all the viewers and watchers, listeners, however you guys watch our podcast. We love you all. We appreciate you watching. And Paul, thank you again for joining. It was great having you.
thank you. I will. Does Alex got to say anything also?
Couple things.
No.
No. Nitro Caddy for all the cool stuff, especially the stop stick. I cannot speak highly enough about the stop stick. I don't even run Nitro, but I have a stop stick because I feel that necessary. Tony, Colleen at ACS, Techno, all that fun stuff. Again, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Mach 1, for all the cool things you guys are doing. The subscribers, commenters, listeners, watchers, followers, likers, all that jazz. Make sure you do all the stuff I just spoke about. And that's all I got.
Cool. I'll see you guys in a week and a half at the clinic
Yes, sir, you will.
at LCRC. It's going to be a good time.
It will be. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And to everyone still listening, don't forget lcrcraceway.com. Code slow as fast 10% off on Mach 1.
Yep. Best batteries, servos, and I've been running the wheels too. I really like the A scale buggy wheels.
Oh, nice.
I really like those.
Sweet.
So, yeah, all sorts of Mach 1 paraphernalia. Check them out. Best of the best right there.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
See you on the
Thank
next
you.
one.
Thank you for listening.
See ya.